O'Brien.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Thanks so much for joining in. 3:07 p.m. Eastern Time. We got 1 hour left to go in trading, and let's kick it off with the S&Ps. Negative by 1 point right now. We're trading at 64.70, and as I mentioned at that 3 o'clock update, very little volatility today. Now, we are coming into Friday, Jackson Hole. So Chairman Powell, he is going to be in focus this week as he'll be making his speech in Jackson Hole. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later. But rates in focus, as they have been for some time, and right now we have a little bit of higher yield. With, as I mentioned at the top of the hour update there, with the 10-year at about 4.33, just like that. A little lower price, higher yield. We're at the top of the range you were at in March right now. But anytime we've approached that 10-year at about 4.2, we've reversed a bit, and we'll see if that continues the trend as we approach Chairman Powell, and that'll be in focus, man. Today is Monday. That event happening on Friday, and yeah, he has made some headlines in years past. Don't anticipate he's looking to make some headlines right now. He makes enough headlines, I believe, but he can't skirt past it. He's going to be in making a speech, and many times he uses that. But right now, we got the CPI, you got the PPI, and they have a whole another month of data that they're going to get. So I think you'll hear some of that in terms of the data. But boy, those jobs numbers are going to be in focus as we approach Friday. Dollar right now, up 298 ticks, 98.150. You jump around to gold. And gold pulling back a bit to 33.76. We jump over to silver today. Up about 7 pennies, 38.05 for that silver contract. We jump over to copper. And yeah, that tariff volatility, man. Up to 5.98, and you just been chopping around digesting that move. 4.74 for the price of copper. All right, let's talk a little Intel. So Intel, you talk about the ebbs and flows, right? You get the tweet first talking about that the Intel CEO had to go from Trump. Is that right then? Yeah, it had to have been. They were on their earnings as well. Maybe it cascaded a little further. But nonetheless, he's back in the good graces. And to pull it up, yeah, how about a 10% stake for the U.S. government? So it's a 10% stake as part of the government offer to rescue the chip maker, and they need rescuing. They do. Yeah, it looks like shareholders are a little worried about giving up 10% of the company. One option under consideration is converting some of the money that Intel was slated to receive from the CHIPS Act into an equity stake. All right, so expect the volatility headlines to persist there, but not surprising on the heels of NVIDIA, AMD kicking back a portion of their sales, and NVIDIA within about $2 of all-time highs. Let's check out the volume on NVIDIA today. Okay, nothing too impressive. We're at 100 million. You got about 50 minutes left to go in trading, but you did what on Friday? 156 million on Friday. A little bit of selling on Wednesday and on Friday. You zoom in on the action. Wednesday on NVIDIA, a red day. You do almost 180 million. You get a bounce on 130, and then you trade lower on 156, and we're bouncing today. We'll see how the final day hour comes in, but you're not going to beat Friday's volume of 56 million in the final hour when you've already done 100. Yeah, so Palantir. Boy, be careful in some of these equities, folks. Unless you have a plan that you're going to hold this thing for 20 years, you don't want to time it, and I'm exaggerating to a degree. But boy, you've run from $5 almost 2 years ago, right? You had $13 less than 2 years ago to $190. And, when they came out with their earnings recently, right, we were talking about it on the air. They're trading at like 100 times sales. 100 times sales. Sales. They have $4 billion of sales, and they're trading at $400 billion. Yes, the future is very bright for that company. Just pulling up how many shares they have and what their market cap is now. Yeah, still $411 billion. I mean, imagine, they have 2.3 billion shares outstanding. They're only making $2 of sales per share, and they're trading at $175 per share. You're facing a little heat on some of these high flyers. Palantir right now down 2%. Yeah, Oracle was holding up okay. Yeah, Oracle in the positive by 0.8%. Check out Amazon. Well, quite a run since it's pulled back on the earnings. That was some nice buying power on Thursday on Amazon. That's how you want to see it accelerate. We have closed this gap and we're coming in, and the next earnings event is going to be very important on Amazon. You're looking at an AWS that is far underperforming Microsoft. What doesn't get enough publication, I think, is Amazon and their advertising business, though. It's another mammoth business. And listen, Amazon advertising is not going to change the world the way Azure Cloud and AWS do, and AI and all of that stuff that comes with the data they're building. But their advertising numbers are growing dramatically on Microsoft, and their margins are through the roof as well. Microsoft shares down 0.8%. It's amazing. It's a complete reversal, right? Look at these charts. Microsoft, they crush it out of the park, man, on their earnings, right? They beat everywhere. Azure's dramatically higher. Meanwhile, all they've done is trade lower since then. You jump over to Amazon, and it's the exact opposite. So be careful in both those equities, because that's not acting like you'd always anticipate. That AWS. Now, Microsoft, Amazon has been underperforming Microsoft. That's part of this relationship going on, too. You back up a 3-year weekly, we're not even at the highs we were at early in the year. And meanwhile, if you put it back to last July, we're about 15% above that level, and you back it up even more than that, right? Amazon was pushing $180 in 2020. You're up $50 from there. What is that, about a 28% return from the 2020 highs? You want to see something comparatively? Microsoft is up more than 100% over that period of time. Apple, if you take the 2020, is up 60 or 70% from that time. So Amazon's catching up. I'm not even going to do NVIDIA because we know what they're going to be. Look at them, their 2020 high. Whew. Is that $15 to 180? Man, this market. All right. We'll see if we get some fireworks in the last final hour. We got the S&Ps negative by 4. Pretty calm day in the markets. You get the VIX right now trading at 1510. And we'll get some fireworks to our man Steve Rhodes. We'll come back with Steve Rhodes, folks. We'll talk some markets. Don't go away. Be right back.